Hanif E. Benjamin. He joins us from his office. He's there bright and early.
Indeed.
Kudos. Glad to have you on.
Thank
And
you.
this is, a very important discussion. Good morning.
It is indeed. Good morning, JW, and congratulations to you to be on the seat at this place. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you so early in your journey.
Thank you so much.
Um,
I'll tell you this, there are certain unspoken rules. So when I went to receive my son's results for SCA, he would have sat the exam about 4 years ago because he's going into Form 4. There are certain rules they don't even know about. I recognize that even when parents go, this whole issue of a parent asking an ex-parent, how you do, boy, or how she do? I realize that you don't do that. People take real offense to especially if the result is not one that is favorable to the parent and the child. So sometimes you get the result and you go away so quiet and you're almost afraid to ask a fellow parent how their child did. So many
you
different
see,
rules, unspoken rules in this process of getting the results.
well, not only that, you spoke about two major things there, JW. In terms of the unspoken rule, yes, but in relation to how your child did, because not so much for the parents, but what that means for the child. And I always say we need to put the child first. And so when you talk about these results coming out, in most cases, the greatest challenge is the parent emotional involvement. And you went for the results, so you know as a parent how you feel. But sometimes we are not cognizant that how and what we say can reverberate negatively, causing undue pressure and emotional stress on children. And for example, you asking another parent how your child did. And again, it goes back to you said if the result is not favorable. And I always ask the question, what makes the result unfavorable? We, the parents or guardian, make the results unfavorable because we have set a standard where you have to pass for a particular school. And because our society has made it in such a way that if you don't pass for this particular school, your life might not be worth it.
But let me
You
ask you,
see,
but isn't it already established or that particular feeling is triggered based on the criteria where you have first choice, second choice, third choice, and fourth choice? And funny enough, I passed for my fourth choice. I didn't pass for none of my top 3 choices.
well,
And
strange enough,
or even
neither did
getting
I.
zoned.
Right? I did not pass any of my choices on the paper.
Serious.
And I was considered to be a bright student. So everybody was shocked. So you could imagine my dismay and disappointment. Not that I didn't pass for my choices, but because they were disappointed in me. And JW, it brings up the conversation again about this STA examination. Because on one hand, I'm saying to parents, hey, let us not put pressure on children. But the mere fact that you have to sit with your child, or in some cases, the parents and the teachers decide what your first, second, third choice is going to be. And then everything else flows from there. So we really have to ask ourselves, is it a disservice that we are doing to children? No. I am not negating the fact that children need to build resiliency, and these type of event help brings about a level of resiliency. But you have to ask yourself, what outweighs what? And therefore, I also think it is time for us to really think about what is going on with this SE and whether or not it is helping or it is hurting. I see no benefit in the level of trauma that children have to go through this SCA situation. Now you're talking about to write the exam is trauma. You're talking about after you write the exam and the waiting period is traumatic. And you're also talking about after the exam because there are only so many seats. And I have seen situations because so many people get the same type of mark, 99 or 90, everybody can't go to their first choice. So immediately a sense of disappointment, and then the parent is up and down fighting, we're not taking this. What are we saying to our children? What precedent are we setting for our children? And so we need to ask ourselves whether or not our children is deserving of this level of undue pressure. It is time for us in this 21st century, where so many other countries have found other ways to assess a child's ability. Notice I said ability, not brilliance.
Yeah.
Because in our system, for C, for CXC, CAPE, all of these things, we assess brilliance and not ability. And once we start to assess children ability, they will grow up to become better people, all-rounded people in a society, as opposed to JW, brilliance. Because anybody could sit down and take in a book. Anybody could sit down and regurgitate from a book.
Yes.
But when you talk about ability, you're talking about the ability to be all round, to understand, to be able to reverberate in order to, so many things.
So,
the time has come, Jada.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Benjamin, because more or less, this is really and truly a child's first public evaluation. First time you're being put up in the light and been given a judgment. So if not SEA, at what point should this evaluation come to more or less prepare a child for the realities of this sometimes cruel world?
The question is whether or not that evaluation makes sense. To me, and JW, if you look at all through life, we adopt this level of rigidity in evaluation. We do interviews in this evaluatory method, and we realize that people score really great on interview. But in the first 3 months, you're struggling to figure out how to let them go because they're horrible at the job. Because we are using this old colonial method of assessment. It's either you have to write, no, people have ability. I prefer to be interviewed sitting. I keep telling people the biggest job I had when I lived in the United States was given to me over steak and wine. Over steak and wine. I was invited for lunch in Manhattan, and there the director offered me a job. That was my interview, sitting and talking about the world and my knowledge and things and my ability to change. This is not the way we should be interviewing people. And it sets up people, SCA, C.S.T, CAPE, those things can be regurgitated. It doesn't measure your ability. And that is why when you get to first year, second year in the universities, we are struggling with depression, anxiety. You can't talk in front of people. You can't make a proper presentation. You don't know anything about taxes. You don't know anything about bank account or even how to develop a resume. Nothing in life in this trajectory prepares you for the real evaluation of life.
So, Mr. Benjamin, let me ask you.
And so we have to find a way through technology, through people's ability, through the arts, to evaluate people.
So let me ask you now in real time, and I just want to bring it back now to the results and the fact that parents are going tomorrow with heart in their hand. Sometimes the parents belly boiling more than the child at home.
Always.
Always, right? Because I've been there, I know the experience. How does the parent now, what are some of the words or what is the positioning or style a parent could use just in case this particular result that is presented tomorrow is not what was expected, or all those lessons and sleepless nights is not what really and truly we were looking at? Just talk to the parent now and guide them as to how to really, to massage that particular situation.
JW, you see exactly what you said there is what I want people to change now. This thing about the lessons, because parents are going to say, all these lessons I pay for 2 years, and this is the result. So immediately, I am asking parents to change to a supportive role. Their number one role should be supportive. I understand that you might be disappointed, and that is okay to be disappointed. But from the time we start to verbalize, I pay for this lesson, and I thought you would have do better, and I tell you about the game you used to play, and if you did buckle down, we need to get rid of those kind of semantics. We need to say to our children, no matter where you go, no matter what building you are sent to, you have succeeded because you have moved from one space to a next. You have ascended from one level to the next. And we should celebrate that no matter what. You need to become supportive. You need to provide a supportive role because children take their emotional cues from the people in their social environment. And therefore, we need to create or inculcate a supportive type of emotion so that your child will then say, no matter what building I ascend to, I will be okay. No matter what school, what building, whatever it is, I will be okay. Because my mom, my dad, my grandpa, whoever is going to be there to support and guide me. So my number one and only thing to parents this morning is be supportive. Change your words to supportive words. Remove the type of reproaching. Remove the type of punitive. If you pass for this, you will get this. And if you pass for that, you'll get that. No, understand that your child has already succeeded.
Mr.
Your
Benjamin,
child has already excelled. And that is what we should be celebrating
Mr. Benjamin,
from Thursday at transition.
You said that there and you made me smile because I recall when I received the results, even though it wasn't what I expected or was working towards, my mom, very supportive. And I remember her words. She said, the school don't make you, son. You have to go and make the school a better place. So I just want to fast forward now. And I want to thank Mom for that, for those supportive words way back in 1990, That's when I did back then was
No,
common
you're
entrance.
trying to trap me at all. I'm 25 years.
Wow. You understand? So hear this, right? In a quick way, before we go to the break, we have about a minute or so. How do we surpass and overcome this trauma now of the online learning? I mean, that's a whole different discussion, but if you could give me a summary and give some advice to the parents and students looking on.
We are living in difficult times. We are living in perilous times, and so we have to change with the time. I think what is important, again, is to listen to our children. I also think that from a macro perspective, we have to assess how we are doing this online learning. I am a strong opposition in relation to what we expose our children to in terms of this online learning. While I understand that the online learning has to happen, I think the way we are going about it needs to change. But in the meantime, what I'm asking parents to do is to listen to your son or daughter, your child, listen to how they feel. Just like how you are struggling with you coping as an adult in the changing paradigm of the world, we also have to pay attention to our children and their changing paradigm. You have to understand that at this point, peer relation is critical to a child's natural development, and they're being robbed of that. And here it is, a new school term has begun, and children are now meeting people online as opposed to face-to-face. So we have to be patient with them. We have to understand their hurts. We have to understand their joy, their sorrow. And only when we begin to do that and allow children to speak about how they feel in a real and unpunitive way, then we will understand that children will be able to accept and to be able to maneuver this online thing. Because here it is, you will be coming from a place of support and understanding.
Hanif, I want to thank you. Amazing words, and I want to continue the conversation. Definitely one that we embrace, one that we must internalize. You put it in real terms, in real time, and I'm hoping that the parents looking on this morning are empowered and richer in their thought process. Thank you, my friend. Keep good, and we'll touch base soon.
Always.
Yes, man.
Indeed.
For sure, for sure. Listen, let's take a quick one now. Quick is the word. We take the pause, we come back, enlightening and great discussions, and later on before the news at 7,